Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to continue our NFL predictions with the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals felt like this year kind of went better this year than it did last year because they submitted themselves as legit AFC contenders by making another deep postseason run. Joe Burrow continued his progression, and the Bengals, some people don't talk about their defense this year. Their defense was pretty good as well. And right now, I do like the Cincinnati Bengals where they're at right now in their development. Not much bad to say about them. Can't believe I'm not saying that about the Bengals. But yeah, I think some positive things are happening in Cincinnati. Let's take a look at last year's schedule and see what I mean. Okay, well the first half of the schedule didn't really go as great because they started off 0-2, losing to the Steelers and Cowboys. And then they lost to the Ravens. All three of those losses came courtesy of a game-winning field goal made by the opposition. And then they got destroyed by Cleveland. But after that, Bengals just got hot. Win after win after win after win. And some of the wins came against the elite. Some of the elite, like Kansas City. Like they beat the Chiefs again. And they beat the Ravens in the finale. And I would talk about the Bills game had it not got canceled, because I feel like they were well on their way on getting that win as well. I mean, I hate to put it to that terms, but you know what I meant. And in the postseason, they got another win against the Ravens, 24-17, thanks to a go-ahead Sam Hubbard touchdown. Then they got a win over the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo in the snow to put them in the AFC Championship game. And hadn't it been for a costly error, they probably would have made it back to the Super Bowl and beat the Eagles. But unfortunately, they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the championship game. And now for some highlights. And like I said, Joe Burrow, he made strides as a starter, but more so not in a statistical standpoint, but more so in a leadership standpoint. Because that normally don't look at Joe Burrow's stats. He knows how to get W's, and it showed in his last two postseason success. And I'm surprised that the Bengals haven't has been taking it this long for him to get a new contract. He deserves all the money in the NFL because back-to-back AFC Championship games, even in a trip to the Super Bowl the year before, Joe Burrow needs his money. Their defense, like I said, led by Trey Hendrickson, was very underrated last year. And they finally beat the Browns, a team that has stymied Joe Burrow in his first 3 years in the NFL, but he finally was able to get over the hump. Surprisingly, I'm surprised that Cleveland's the team that he struggles with the most. And now for the lowlights, Lyle Collins signing going bust. He was supposed to elevate an offensive line, an already bad offensive line. He didn't really do much to do that. He got cut as a result. And then they became the witnesses of the Damar Hamlin episode that needs no further discussion here. But we're just glad that Damar Hamlin is fully recovered and heading back to football. But Joseph Assai's game costing penalty, where he hit Patrick Mahomes late on the final drive, they put the Chiefs in field goal range. That pretty much sealed their entire season. But on to their acquisitions, and they had one big acquisition being Orlando Brown Jr. joining from the Kansas City Chiefs. That is huge, especially when we hit to the later parts of the season. That he went on to join the enemy is now aiding the ally. That's big. They also added Cody Ford, he used to play for the Bills, and Irv Smith Jr., who was an underwhelming tight end for the Minnesota Vikings. But their losses, Jesse Bates and Von Bell, those are two big losses. They're both safeties. Now basically leaves the Bengals with almost no safeties. Also, Hayden Hurst, he went back home to the Carolinas, and Samaje Perine, backup running back, is now with the Broncos. And in the draft, they took Miles Murphy, a defensive end from Clemson, cornerback DJ Turner from Michigan, and the safety they took Jordan Battle from Alabama. So they took care of a safety need there. And I want to highlight a punter pick. They also added Brad Robbins, a punter from Michigan. I don't know what that means for their current punter, Mr. Huber, but he could either overtake his job or he'll be released. But we got to give punters love, especially when they get drafted. But for the Bengals, can they get over the hump and make it back to the Super Bowl? Let's take a look. Okay, Cincinnati Bengals, let's take a look at your schedule. And if you look at this point, I've already done majority of your games. But anyway, I will go through and explain what I think is going to happen. Week 1 against the Cleveland Browns. Like I said with the Cleveland Brown video, I said that for some reason Joe Burrow tends to struggle in that city. So I'm giving the Bengals a week 1 loss. After that, they have the Baltimore Ravens at home. So they're going to start their season off with 2 divisional games. 2 very important games to start the season. But luckily for the Bengals, I gave them a win here. And this takes us to Monday Night Football. A game that I haven't predicted at this point. And that is the Los Angeles Rams. And if you don't know, this is the rematch of the Super Bowl that took place 2 years ago in Los Angeles, where the Bengals came up short. But I do think for this particular game, the Bengals are going to get their revenge and they're going to get a win. And it's actually going to start a nice little winning streak for the Bengals. Another win against the Titans week 4, a week 5 road win against the Cardinals, and a week 6 home win against the Seattle Seahawks, which put them 5-1 at their bye week. Very impressive. And this takes us to week 10 after the bye against the 49ers. Now, I've gone back and forth with this game, and I'm really torn about this one. I'm actually going to go with Cincinnati. If they have just enough offense, I think they could get over the 49ers on the road to put them at 6-1. Followed by a statement Sunday night win against Buffalo. I'm not going to say that. Week 10, which is, well, what I will say is about that game, the DeMar Hamlin rematch game. And hopefully he'll be playing, and hopefully there won't be we pray that there's no disasters for that game. That's what I will say that. Followed by a Week 10 win against the Texans. But Week 11, they'll suffer their second loss in the season, now come against the Baltimore Ravens. But they'll bounce back against the Pittsburgh Steelers Week 12. Then they're going to lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville on Monday Night Football, which will be Jacksonville's first Monday night game in Jacksonville in over a decade. And the rest of their schedule, they're going to get a home win against Cincinnati, a home win against Minnesota. They're going to lose on the road to the Steelers and Chiefs, and they're going to get their revenge against Cleveland, which puts their record at 12-5, which is tied for the best record. And little that I know is that their record at Week 17 New Year's game against the Kansas City Chiefs basically is what's deciding the number 1 seed, according to my rankings so far. So let me know in the comments below what record you think the Bengals are going to have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.